Today, we're going to work on paradox. Now, we worked on it last week, and I figured out a way to teach paradox, which made it 25 times more difficult to learn than it should have been. And so I did some more research, and I thought, how are they teaching this to people brand new? And so I watched the beginning ones and I went, oh dear, yeah, I just made this way hard. So today we're going to learn the easy way, the right way to do paradox. So we will begin with, we're just going to dive in and not waste any time with little 2-inch squares. We're just going to take our, wait a minute, tile and let's see, there we go. We're going to take our tile and we're going to get started. But first, we're going to sit here for a minute or two and just relax. Know that we're sitting with wonderful people and we're all going to tangle this dance together. Okay. So quietly we begin our corner dots. And then our lines. And for our string today, we're going to draw a freehand orb. We're not going to call it a circle because it probably won't be a perfect circle, but that will be okay. So I want you to come in. So maybe about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little 5/8 of an inch, and put a dot right from that edge in the middle this way. And now we can draw this orb a quarter at a time. And so you kind of just come out here like that. Turn your tile. Come like that. And if you want to kind of massage that line and make it a little more to your liking, that's okay. All of this pencil work will disappear. And so there we have our orb. Okay. Now, from whatever you choose to be the top, let's see, what am I needing to do here? Hold on. Okay, we're going to try to make dots and divide this orb into 6 pieces of pie. Something like that. It doesn't matter if it isn't perfect.
You mean 6 or 8?
Well, here's when I was drawing the circle, that's why I was sitting there thinking, let's ignore these. I made them too dark. What we really need is the 6 points now. And if you want to later, you can get out your compass and you can draw this, but you'll be amazed at how it really looks kind of cool when it isn't exactly geometrically perfect. So the next thing we do is from this one, we will create an equilateral, more or less triangle like that. The perfection of our tangling is its imperfections. Remember that. The perfection in our tangling is its being hand drawn, if its slight little things are slightly off. I think that's why the tangling on our iPads has really not caught on very well. Yeah, I can create perfect tangles on my iPad, but they don't have the charm and the soul that hand-drawn ones do. And then we draw another triangle like this until we have a 6-pointed star. Then some more geometry. We take these points where there are crosses, and we draw straight lines over to the ones opposite. And you can see mine isn't perfect right there, but that's what we come up with. So now we have a dozen triangles.
Okay, wait, I missed, how did that go?
Okay, so we've got our 6-pointed star,
Mhm.
and then we take where these lines cross and we draw straight lines across from each other like that. Does that make sense? Do
Yes.
you need me to do it again? I can. Trust yourself. Okay. We technically could have started with our ink right away, but if you want to take a moment to finagle these lines a little or whatever, go ahead. Next time you do it, you'll probably feel perfectly comfortable, or more comfortable, I should say. Going for these lines in ink. But at least now, let's go ahead and get out our micron. And draw these lines more perfectly. And let's just draw the star for now. We don't need to draw this circle in ink. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, that'll leave us some options of what we want to do out there. So. Turn your tile as you draw these angles, these lines. Keep your right arm firmly planted on the table. Okay. Now, is everybody about to this point? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of these triangles out of the 12, and we're going to get it right, which won't be that difficult. And then we will just continue to mirror off of that one, and it all falls into place. So here's one. Let's start at the point and draw a slanting line down like that. So it just veers out from this line. And this is very important. We turn our tile. It's almost like we never have to lift our pen from the table, from the paper. And so we come from this point and we come down, and we're that little space there again. And then we turn our tile. We go from there and slant it away from the edge. So it's like we've got a smaller triangle that's a little bit turned. So now we turn our tile again. You start at the point and we veer out. Start at the point, veer out. Point, veer out. Turn that tile. If you do that, there will be much more consistency to the lines that you draw, and you won't lose your place. And you just keep turning it. So you're really turning it about 120 degrees between each line that you draw. Okay. And there's our first paradox. The paradox is that using entirely straight lines, we created these gentle curves. Now, this is where we decide what the finished piece is going to look like. We can either mirror this one, or we can do it in the same direction and everything as the one before. And the outcome will be different. I'm going to show you a few things. Let's see. This is one. So on this one, I didn't do a lot of mirroring. I did it kind of the other way. And actually, this is a much bigger set of triangles than the other one, but you can see how it looks, these little pieces and so forth, but ours is going to look quite a bit different from that. Ours is going to look more, we're going to see this fan shape here. So I don't know why I chose that. I'm pull that out. I've got it right here. We're going to see these fans like this. And the way we do that, very simple. We just mirror this. It's like we took this and flipped it over, turned it right on that edge. And so we start down here. And we slant it up and out from there. So it's like we're opening that fan. And then I come around from that point down here. From that point away from that line. From that point away from that line. And you can already see that fan opening up. I always think this, instead of a fan, it looks sort of like a monster with eyes and a nose. And that is what we're going to do now, is we're going to mirror, we can mirror it by, just by the triangles. We're going to mirror this triangle here. And so we see that fan opening up that way. We go from this point and spread that fan open. Once you've drawn that first line, the rest you just keep going. Now, have I thoroughly confused you, or does it sort of make sense? Liz?
I'm thoroughly confused, but I'm watching, so it's okay.
Okay.
I am, it sort of makes sense. I think I did it.
Okay, that's good. Liz,
Yeah.
grab a piece of scratch paper.
Okay.
And just draw your triangle. Like this. And just practice that first thing like that. And just draw a number of those separate. Until that little thing begins to make sense. I may move on with the rest of the guys.
Oh yeah, go on. I'm fine.
Okay. And this is being recorded, so if you want to, you can come
Right.
back on it. But anyway, just begin to get that feeling. All right, so now what we want, one of the things that makes this a little bit difficult is our triangles begin to disappear in this whole meshwork. And so I'm just going to put a little sticky over that. And what we're mirroring now is this on here. So I came from the point this way, turn my tile.
Hi, sweetie. I'm in an art class. Oh, that's so much fun. How are you? So nice to see you.
And then I grade two columns.
All right. And so you see there, we've mirrored that. Now we're going to mirror that here. Just mirror off of that. We start at the point, we come down there and do the spinning. So open that fan. Okay. So I'm gonna pull these off now, and you're gonna see. And I'm gonna go ahead and cheat and erase so that it's real clear. Now these fans fold around one another. And then you can notice here, you'll open this fan up. And you'll come back here and you'll open this fan up. And this fan up. And so you just go to the, you look at what's next to the one you want to fill, and you open the rest of that fan up. Like right there, you see. There's where we open, there's the bottom, the fulcrum. And there it goes. One of the things that might be confusing is that when you're doing the, when you're mirroring it, you're going to be spinning your tile in the opposite direction from the other one. So one you will go spin clockwise and one anti-clockwise. There. Okay. Okay. All right. So, how are you feeling about this? Unmute yourselves and talk a little bit. Ask
A bit
questions.
astonished that it actually looks like it's supposed to. And
Oh.
it's so cool. I was showing my youngest because he was getting ready to go out. And he was like, wow, mom, that is so neat.
Mine looks nothing like it's supposed to.
All right, Liz. I was looking through my book to see if I could find a sample of wait a minute. Of a tangle that was invented by Molly, who is Maria Thomas's daughter, and it's called, I just had it on my head.
I think I'm getting closer. Don't wait. I mean,
It's
Don't waste-
called Munchin, I think. And she invented it because she had tried for weeks and weeks to get this, to understand it, and she couldn't. So she ended up, and what she finally did was invented, not purposefully, but what it ended up was a totally different tangle that is a lot of fun and sort of looks like this, but isn't quite as cool, but it's really a cool tangle too. So I'll find that and I'll bring it
oh,
next
that's fine.
time.
Thank you.
So feel, if you're having trouble with it, don't worry. I might also suggest that you look online if you really want to try to get it. Google Paradox Zentangle on YouTube, and there are hundreds of people that will show you their way of doing it, and maybe one of them will click. I've watched a bunch of them. Okay, so we've got our star now. It's pretty amazing that first off, we drew a circle freehand, right? That was pretty amazing. And then we divided the circle up totally freehand into 6 parts. We drew 2 pretty good isosceles triangles here. I mean, that's pretty good. And then we divided up the center, and that worked pretty well. And then we did whatever we did in the middle. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about one way to shade this puppy. And I will get my little shading pencil here. The way I have done it on this one is I shaded these little points so that it sort of looked like the fan. We could leave that lighter and it would look as though it were on top. Now, after we do some shading, you can go ahead and add color to it with colored pencils or markers or whatever you want, but just so that we understand that a little bit, I'm gonna just do that. And this will give it maybe a little more depth. And then you may want to go ahead and give that center some depth. All right. Then we get a tortillon. And kind of smooth this out a little bit. Okay. Okay. Well, go ahead and take a minute more and finish up what you started there. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you then what I did here. I started out wanting to do some, do them in slightly different colors to kind of make the pattern stand out in a different way. And I realized I needed 3 colors because of the way things fell. So I have, sort of pinkish, sort of bluish, and sort of greenish. And with those, I was able to kind of separate things. So I have 3 fans coming together, the tops of the fans, and then the bottoms of the fans coming together. And then that kind of repeats itself out. And you can do whatever you want to with those fans. You could color them black, some of them be black and some alternate the colors like stripes. Even from here, if later you want to go ahead and add color, you can just take your colored pencils and add into the top, or even with watercolor or something, you can do the same. But I think for now, on this, I was doing this onomato, and I was filling it in with some of these. It's called Vitruvius, so it looks like you have little flowers in it and all. That takes forever, which is wonderful for ZenFlow, but I think for tonight, I'm going to lay that part aside since we took our time with this, which, well, we should have. And so I ran across this little tangle. It's called NoNom, like no name or something, from Juliet Feisinger from Germany. And it just looked simple and like it would work. But I think in doing it, what I would like to do first, before adding it, is to aura all around the outside of this star with just a line, just draw the aura around it. Like here, and kind of define that area a little bit more. And again, notice I'm turning my tile. I'm not moving my hand, my right hand, my drawing hand. Okay. And now we can take this little thing here, I think, and just adapt it. Trying to decide whether to put that. I don't know. I think I'll put a little circle like that. I'm making this up as I go. That's what you're supposed to do. And just put in little orbs of all different sizes. Take your time. Okay. So. At this point, what I do when I'm tangling by myself is I kind of set it aside. I feel like at this point, I've gotten to a place where I'm not sure what I want to do next. I have these options. I could go ahead and, put a border around it, make it kind of interesting. I could put a whole bunch of dots out here. I could start in on the coloring, but I'm really not sure. It's sort of nice just like it is. I think I would like a little more emphasis and maybe color, but maybe I wouldn't do a whole lot else to it. Or when I set it on the shelf over here and then come in tomorrow morning, I'll see maybe what I want to do. So don't by any means think you have to complete a tile in one day. I often see people on the Zentangle app saying, I started this tile 3 years ago, and I finally decided I knew what to do to finish it. So that's okay. Right now, this has a totally different feel to it than this one.